Good to go. Perfect. Yeah, started to get long ago. I think it was 2014, 15. But those are big games. The thing about college is you play a lot. You play less games than you do in pro, and a lot of times the games are bigger because in college you don't play those best of five, best of seven as you get into the playoffs. So I think with college, moving to pro, obviously the jump was huge. That was probably the biggest jump for me from anything from high school to juniors, juniors to college. College to pro. That took me a while to get adjusted. And they play a lot more games. So it was mentally, I felt going in that there was almost two different sides mentally because college you have those big games and in pro you have so many little games that can go can go bad, but you play three games in the next 4 days. So I think for me the biggest thing mentally was kind of adjusting to having a huge stage at Mariucci, playing big games, to going back to playing in a rink in the middle of upstate New York with 10 people there booing you. So I think that was the biggest adjustment for me.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but I know that you are, obviously you talked about your athleticism and how athletic you were growing up playing a bunch of different sports. And you were kind of known at that time, especially when you're at the U, of making absolutely huge saves. Are there any saves that kind of stick out in your mind, pro, high school, beyond college?
Yeah, I think my favorite all time save was we were playing Bemidji State. I got up to number two on top 10 Sports Center. It was a stick, but I think it's probably still on there. But it it was kind of a back door, and the defense shot it, and it got tipped, and I was in a butterfly, and the puck went to my blocker's side, right to a guy's stick, and I just stuck my paddle back there and somehow got it. It was all luck, but it was pretty cool because I had the fans in the background doing the bowing and everything, and it was without a doubt probably my favorite save.
Awesome. I love that. I know that also you spent recently, a ton of work, like you said, is a big jump going to the pros, on making your game not so reliant on your athleticism and kind of starting your body position. And what was kind of the process and what were kind of the steps you've taken or to kind of make your game a little quieter?
Yeah, definitely. I think I was using a lot of just raw kind of street hockey skills going from junior to college. And obviously, JJ, my goalie coach at college, helped me a lot. And then when I got to the pro, I really had to adjust to a more structured game. And I think the biggest thing was just kind of realizing that my size, I'm 6 foot, wasn't a limitation. And if you kind of look at the angles and the way the puck is on the ice, you really don't have to move that much as a smaller goalie. So I think for me is I was over moving, and if I just settled down, I could play a lot bigger. And it took me probably about two a year or two full seasons to kind of settle down. But once I did, my game got a lot better, and I kind of had to adjust from an athletic and a sprawling, crazy game in college to a real sound, quiet game, which was a lot different than I've played for 20 years.
Yeah, I know a lot of, a lot of these kids on the call can definitely listen to that again because a lot of times you guys are in the right spot and you could close your eyes and get hit, but you want to make a save, so you end up doing a little bit more than you need to, and ends up kind of putting yourself out of position. You don't need to slide into a save when you're already going to get hit there, So there's a lot of that stuff. Now, you kind of obviously gone through the ranks and played. I don't know, how many years have you been a pro now?
I think I played six now.
6 years. So you've been definitely had a pro career, right? So you've kind of been around a couple different teams, couple different levels, and then what have you seen? This will maybe be my last question. I'll open it up to other people, right? What have you seen the difference between some of the people, skaters, goalies, anyone that kind of make that jump to the next level,
Hmm.
or some of the top people that stay at that top level?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just consistency. I mean, it's amazing how good pros are. They play the good players, the good goalies they're good every single night. I mean, obviously everyone's going to have a bad night, but they're consistent in their game, in the way they position and their move, and the way they work, their work ethic. You can always tell the guys who are good. The guys who score, they're consistent. The goalies who have good stats and are consistent, it's because they work consistent, and it's the way they train and the way they play. And you see these goalies that make big saves and have huge games, and then the next day they'll come back and have a bad one. And I think that's the biggest quality in a good pro is just being consistent in every aspect of their game.
Just kind of letting that water roll off their back and come right back to it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, here's we're gonna do this a little different for some of you guys that did it in the past. We opened these questions up in the chat, but there's a raise your hand function, I believe. So if you raise your hand, I'm gonna click on you, and you guys can ask. I'll unmute you, and you can ask Adam your questions directly. So, we got Max.
Who said we love UND there?
Have you heard of the Sense Arena? Like the VR goggles?
I might. Are they like kind of like the, what do you call them, the Oculus things?
Yeah.
I've tried them once, but the only thing I did on them was ride a roller coaster.
Oh,
Awesome. You got anything else there, Max? Or
no, that's it. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, I
awesome.
gotta try those things. Give me some entertainment here.
Yeah. Gavin.
Do you ever get nervous before you start a game?
Yeah. I get super nervous before my games, even if it's an exhibition game in preseason. I'm always nervous, and I think that's just because I care about the outcome. And at first I was like, God, I'm a nervous wreck before these games, but I think it's pretty common. And actually, it does help me because as I get into the game and I get the first shot, then I start to calm down. I realize if there's games I'm not nervous for, I almost get too relaxed and I have a tough start. Yeah, I was pretty nervous. I think it just comes with the position, and that's a-okay.
It's Bennett.
What's your like routine to stay consistent?
Routine to stay consistent. For me, it's finding the right in practice. It's finding the right drills and doing them. For me, like I talked about earlier, it was calming my game down. There were certain drills that me and my goalie coaches did that would help that, and doing that every single day would really really help calm my game down. And in games, it was just basically um, pre-game. I'm a big soccer guy. I would just play soccer before and kind of let my mind wander and go. I was pretty, like I said earlier, I was pretty nervous, so I needed to do stuff to let my mind get away from the game. And then when the puck dropped or we were in warm-ups, then get into it. But to answer your question, I think it just starts with practice and doing the stuff that helps your game. Then when you get into the game, you don't have to think about it.
Awesome. Dewey. Let's see if I can unmute you. There we go.
So, what did you do to separate yourself from the competition and make that jump from kind of high school to juniors to college?
Yeah. God, it seems like a while ago. When did I graduate? 2011. Yeah, it's weird to say. I'm starting to have to think back decades now. But I remember that it was pretty stressful time to try to separate and jump. You always think about, who's watching, how do I get noticed? And um, for me, playing at South St. Paul, everyone at that time wanted to transfer schools to, St. Thomas and Hill Murray at the time to get looks, because obviously a lot of scouts out there. But I realized, if you're a good goalie, and you're gonna get, people are gonna see you. It's a small world. Hockey world's small. People talk. If you're a good goalie and you deserve to play college, D1, D3, you'll get there, and keep working, and don't get down if you're not getting calls or notice. But for me to separate myself, I think I just, I worked hard, obviously, and I did a lot of things in the summer to get noticed, AAA tournaments, stuff. But I also did a lot of other sports to kind of round my game. And I like to say that getting sacked in the football field helped me play goalie, but I think even mentally losing in football for 2 years straight helps lose in hockey. And I think the biggest thing is just kind of keep working, and realize that someone will see you at some point.
Perfect. Hold on, Quentin.
All right. How do you, what's your process after you get scored on to like refocus and get ready for the next shot?
Yeah, it's funny you ask. I think I kind of black out a little bit after goals. There's probably a 30-second window. I don't even remember what happened, but yeah, that's tough. It's obviously sometimes hard to refocus, especially in a tough barn, and if you get a couple on you right away. But what I try to do is you just have a routine. Whether it's take a water bottle, go to the corner. I think my cousin Al skates to the corner about 30 times a minute to refocus. But I don't think about the goal. I try to block it and leave it out and just move on. Say it's a goal, whatever. Let's get to the next shot.
Henrik.
What levels were you at Pee-wees?
Pee-wees? I played A Pee-wees for 2 years, and I think I wouldn't play AAA 1 year because we only had a C team 1 year.
It's a long that's a long time payback.
Yeah, we're talking decades here. I'm getting old.
Yeah. All right, Seth. Need to get here. There we go. I think you're good now, Seth.
What is your favorite hockey rink? It said
Favorite hockey rink?
That's not so. That's Preston.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, Mariucci is the best rink. It's
except Mariucci.
Except Mariucci? Oh, well,
geez.
I love Doug Wugarina down South St. Paul. Blood, sweat, and tears there.
What's the best? I'll add to it. What's the most hostile or your favorite hostile environment to play in there?
Hostile. When I remember playing in Lincoln in the USHL, that was a tough place to play. It was small, but they were loud. They had the $1 million light show before the game, and they had a full team of fighters, and it was just scary playing there. But it was fun.
We have some from the chat. How did you manage your time between sports and school?
I think I'll break it down. In college they give you a good amount of time. They help you be successful there. They will never let you be overwhelmed with school and hockey. They do a great job with that. So in college, I think it was pretty easy to balance it because they let you balance it in a way that lets your schedule get enough sleep, lets you get enough hockey, and lets you get your schoolwork done. We had mandatory 8 hours of tutor a week, so you pretty much have to do your homework. Someone's watching over you every week. So it wasn't too overwhelming in college. In high school, I think I did all my homework in class. I never brought it home. I just left my book in my desk. I couldn't stand going home and having homework.
I'm sure Cordsy will be happy to hear that. What college did you want to go to as a kid?
When I was super young, I really wanted to go to North Dakota. As tough as that is to say. I think my old AIM screen name was UND Hockey and Sioux Hockey, so that's tough to admit. And then when I was in middle school and early high school, I really wanted to go to the UMD Bulldogs. My cousin was playing there as a goalie, so I'd go up there and watch. And then I had a couple of friends go there, so I wanted to go there. And then when it came time to decide, it was down to the Gophers and Bulldogs. And I think a lot of people were surprised. I ended up choosing the Gophers, and I'm happy I made that decision. So I really didn't want to go to the Gophers until I guess I committed there.
Obviously didn't look back. It was a good decision for you.
Yeah, of course.
What you kind of touched on what do you do before games? Is there any difference between I'll take it a little deeper between practice games or whether you're starting or backing up, or is it all pretty similar?
It's hard in the pro season. I think last year, the year before, they had a guy who's been in the NHL down for a while. So there was times. Well, when I was in Syracuse, actually, Andrei Vasilevsky, you ever heard of him? Yeah, they sent him down for a few months, so I didn't get a lot of games in that 2-month span. So it was pretty hard to stay focused in games. And we play 80 games a year, so it's a lot of time at the rink. It's a lot of time to be mentally involved in the position. But I think games that I do play, it's obviously a fight because it's so competitive at the pro level that you really have to be on your game. The margin of error is so small that it is kind of mentally tough sometimes to prepare for games and realize that if you play, you could get sent down, you could get traded. So I think for that, it's really about being super focused in the things you do well. And games I'm not playing, I will admit sometimes I get have a little fun before the games, play soccer, trying to think about it. It's good. It's a lot of games. It's fun, and it's a great group of guys to hang out in the locker room with.
Awesome, keeping it light. All right,
Yeah.
Braden, we'll go back to some. Let's see if you can unmute yourself there, Braden.
Have you ever wanted to play for the Minnesota Wild?
I guess when I first signed, I was drafted by Tampa, so I wanted to play with the team I signed for. And then a few years ago, my cousin got traded, or he signed as a free agent with the Wild, so that was kind of not an option anymore. But that'd be pretty fun to play with him. Growing up, I really wasn't a Wild fan. I was actually a Detroit Red Wings fan because Hasek was there, and then before that, I was a Buffalo Sabres fan. So my favorite team growing up was the Sabres. So it was pretty cool to be with the Sabres organization a few years into my pro career.
I know, you kind of mentioned your cousin a little bit. For those who don't know, your cousin is Alex Stalock, right? So plays for the Wild. But growing up, I heard JJ. I kind of asked a couple questions from him.
My favorite player is Ox Stalock.
Well,
is it?
That's this guy's cousin.
Yep.
So, who had the best? Who won in mini sticks during the holidays?
Well, that's we never played goalie, so I would say I was the better forward. He had a harder shot, but I was better skater.
Yeah. Is there anything? Both from South St. Paul around the same age, right? So you guys kind of played a lot of sports against each other, right? Kind of at probably in the backyard sort of stuff.
Yeah, he was about five-ish years older than me, so he's the one who actually got me into goalie. And my parents loved it because they didn't have to buy equipment. I would just get his gear growing up. So I always had gear that was either 6 inches too big or 6 years too old, but they loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah, we did a golfing trip this summer with him, so we spent a lot of time together in the summer if we can see each other. And he's the reason I'm in this position. So on bad days I blame him, and on good days I blame him too.
Yeah, you'd probably reach out to after the game, be like, "Why'd you make me do this?"
Yeah, all the time.
What is your favorite drill?
My favorite drill, that's got to be when the players have to condition and we just take a knee.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What's the funnest
Yeah.
drill?
The funnest drill?
Probably windmills or
Probably just windmill drill, but I love the first couple drills when they just come over the blue line and take shots from about 30 feet out. The one thing you realize when you start playing with European and Russians, they come into the hash marks and just aim at your neck. So practices get a little tougher when you're older.
All right, Braden, you got another question? You're back up.
Yeah. I just forgot it.
Oh no. Come back. Come on. Focus. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's what he did. Well,
Can you iTalk stack for me?
awesome. Well, I know I'll ask, obviously you ended up playing you got called up to Florida and played some time with them, right? What was that experience like? Obviously playing in the NHL, probably childhood dream, or trying to follow your cousin if he pressured you into it or whatever it was.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. My first call up was with Tampa in my second year, and I remember it was Steve Eiersman was a GM at the time, so he's the one who called me, and I was just kind of like a surreal moment to finally be able to get that call. And I just remember being on the flight there, and I don't think every time I got called up, I think I got an hour of sleep, which was just terrible. But so I'd get to the rink and just be a zombie. I was so nervous, but that was pretty sweet. At Florida was a fun call up because Yarmi Yager was on the team then, so I got to admit I was on his team, even though it was only for a couple weeks. But that was pretty cool. Bukestead, who was my college roommate, was on the team. That was really fun. And then I got my first game with the Buffalo Sabres, which was pretty cool because that was my favorite team growing up.
Awesome. I think we got Gavin. Unmute yourself.
Did you collect sports cards or any sports card?
I did, yeah. I was a big card collector. I still have all my Pokemon, the original Charizards. I gotta put those up for auction here soon. But I did Digimon too, and then I collected hockey cards. I had a whole book of them. And I think I still have one card that I got. It was a picture of Jamie McLennan, and the name was Manny Fernandez. I remember my dad said, "You got to keep this. That's going to be worth money." So I'm pretty sure he still has that downstairs. But I feel bad for my parents. I get those big. Do they still have those? Those big hockey card packs, like in a white box. There's got to be like 100,000 cards in those things. I would go there once a week and get them.
That's unbelievable. You got all your Charizards.
Yeah, I got a whole box of Pokemon, but one Charizard, so I think I'm gonna take that. That's not going to my sister.
Oh, that's hilarious. Any other questions? I think we've kind of reached it all. I'll give you guys another second to kind of either raise your hand or put something in the chat. Otherwise, what have you done, or what are you doing during this little pause, or your downtime? Obviously, it's been a really weird year. You don't really know when you're starting. You don't know what you guys just stopped. What have you kind of done to stay ready or prepare in this kind of a weird time?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it was weird with the season ending in March. Coming home and moving back in with my wife and my brother-in-law and his fiance. That was kind of an interesting experience. But yeah, I mean, the unknown. I've actually, as of summer, been doing some part-time work in mortgage operations just to kind of get something going for when I'm done playing hockey. And I got a couple offers to play in Sweden. I actually got one a couple weeks ago to play in the KHL, and it was in the Russian Hockey League, and it was a team in Kazakhstan, which would have been pretty cool. I would have been living with Borat, but I decided not to take that. My wife and I have a kid due in January, so figured I would be home for the birth. Wouldn't want to miss that. But yeah, other than that, I've just been kind of working on that mortgage operations. It's keeping me busy, making a little extra money during 2020, and working out. I usually work out in Woodbury with my cousin, and I haven't been doing that much this year. I haven't skated that much. Probably like you guys, it's been kind of crazy, but I had to give up the Xbox. I was putting too much time in on that, so got rid of that.
That's probably a good thing. I mean, especially you're not gonna have sleep or any free time. You have no idea how much free time you have right now. It's unbelievable.
I just soaking it in.
Yeah, and sleep. This is the last time you're gonna have it. So
Yeah.
what advice to obviously we have a bunch of kids on the call, and what advice do you have for any of these young guys kind of growing up or playing hockey or general advice?
Yeah. For me, obviously, with me not being in a rink around teammates for almost got to be a whole year now coming up, I think the biggest thing for me is what I miss most about it is the time at the rink and the guys that we hang out with and the fun times with the team. So don't take that for granted. Playing around your friends, traveling hockey. I think that's the most important thing. Whether you go on to play college, whether you go on to play pro, just enjoy it, because as like I said, not playing for a year, and you start to realize how much you miss it when you're away from the rink. So really embrace and enjoy the time you have with your friends, with your buddies playing hockey, because it is the best time ever.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. I know a lot of these kids do too. It's nice to see where a lot of these local guys are like yourself are playing and kind of your story. It's definitely not, you just see on TV or you see making those big saves. There's definitely more to that journey than you see. So we appreciate it. Goalies that are on here, make sure you guys are taking advantage of all these resources, these Q&As on Tuesday, the webinars. Those have been great for learning and growing your mind. And then make sure you guys are using that app and all the workouts and all these resources that you guys have. I know that, when I was coming up, I know Alex too, or Adam too, we're trying to, just make stuff up on our own or just kind of, do whatever, right? You guys have a ton of resources, so make sure you're using them and keep bettering yourself, even though we can't be on the ice. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks again, Adam. And
Thank you guys.
Yeah. We'll hopefully see you guys around the rink.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining.
Don't let Kent turn you into a street hockey goalie.
Well, we can't be a robot either, so we gotta have a good mix. Right?
Exactly. I'm the furthest thing from a robot.
We can put some robot in there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. I think that's more or less it. So thanks again. We'll probably be in touch and whatever, but I know that was really good for everyone that joined, and it went perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Little hiccup with the Wi-Fi at the start, but
yeah, I was downstairs. I've just put a couch down there, so I didn't realize the Wi-Fi didn't make it there.
That's all right. Yeah. What